Three shots, four par, I just do two. One putt, par four, birdie, woo-hoo. New driver, info, replace, M2, par five, fairway, what you fin do? Think I'll try to get on into, start right, good line, good view.
Huskers podcast presented by Pioneer Golf, pioneergolfcompany.ca. Wearing the hat right now. I got the sweater on. Man, I look like I had to go change, Bryce. I look like I had a onesie on. I have a maroon sweater and the maroon hat, and I had maroon pants, like dress pants on at work today. Tough look, man. Tough look, but just the way stuff.
It's good merch, so at least it looked good.
Oh man, it looks so good. So yeah, I got the rope hat on right now. Anybody watching us on YouTube, these hats are awesome. PioneerGolfCompany.ca. AJ does incredible work. We got some custom head covers made up over there. I got one made for a buddy of mine who's been on the pod before. They're so nice, man. So nice. Go check it out. I know Mac Boucher's got them on his bag. Lucas has them on the bag. Quite a few people. You gotta go check it out. Pioneer Golf Company.ca, PioneerGolfCompany.ca. Bryce, you a course guy? You a golf course guy?
I am. Not completely.
You're a gear guy. You're a gear guy.
I'm a gear guy, but I know my courses pretty well. When you pick out a certain hole at a certain course, I might not know it, but
right.
For the most part, I'm pretty good with it. So
I need to travel a lot more. Like, I'm learning this. So this week, on the pod, we've got Drew Harvey. He is a writer and golf professional, founder of Beyond the Contour, which is pretty amazing, man. So links below if you want to go check it out. They did a top 100, kind of similar to Score Golf, but it's based on like an architectural standpoint, or kind of looking at the course through like an architectural lens, really, right? So it was neat. It was really cool. You ever just sit and talk to somebody and you're like, man, this guy knows so much. I love golf. I can talk golf all day, and I love talking like courses and stuff like that. But he just knew about every course in Canada, it seemed, or knew somebody who's played it, obviously. So it was cool, man. The way that they did it was pretty unique. I don't want to give away too much. So I'll timestamp it below. Go have a look. And if you're just here to listen to the chat with Drew, go check it out. Really, really cool. You're going to learn a ton about Canadian golf courses. So yeah, we thought maybe we get into it, talk about some courses a little bit. One of the ones so when Drew and I were talking, Bryce, we were talking a lot about some of the courses that we've played. One of the ones I played quite a bit, as you know, is Kawartha, and it's got one of the nicest par threes like around, like in Canada. Really, it's really nice, deep bunkers, 2-tiered green. I guess it's got a nice huge pond in front of it. I guess I never really gave it the credit because, to be honest, the 17th hole right before it is like a filler hole, right? They're just filling space with that hole, and then you get to one of the nicest par threes. So it's a great ending. Stanley Thompson finishes so many rounds that way, right? But it got us, and you and I got talking about par threes and stuff like that. I know Waste Management was up, but obviously this weekend, right, we'll use the word icon. You and I have gone over this before. Iconic, like famous, whatever it is. So 17th at TPC Stadium course. What do you think? Like, where's that rank for you?
Just for the record here, we're going to use the word iconic. Okay. Whether you like it or not, that's what we're using. Obviously it can be called any other things, but 17 at Sawgrass, probably one of the most iconic in golf, with the island green and the wood walls going around it, and just all the history that's been there. I would say it's probably top 3, maybe top 5 in golf. I said that backward, but
I don't think top 3 is a stretch at all. Maybe, but have you ever played Wooden Sticks out in Uxbridge?
I have not, but I heard they have all the replica holes.
Yeah, so 17th at Sawgrass is one of them. It's cool because we played it this year, and I actually hit a really nice shot to about 8 feet, and then I just buckled on the putt. It was no good, but
I remember that.
Yeah, I posted,
I've heard it looks pretty good though. Like midsummer when it's all manicured and stuff, it looks pretty good.
It was beautiful. So 17 Stadium course like this. So we're posting this up on Friday. You know what? If I can get it edited, I like to drop, like, when it's a big golf weekend. I don't want to say that this is kind of an unofficial major. Can we agree? Like, sort of,
yeah,
like,
no,
yeah.
I'd say the Players is the 5th major.
Yeah.
Not major kind of thing,
Well, in the Canadian Open.
Yeah.
It's
Okay,
a,
6.
it's a, yeah. But I think I like to kind of drop them on the day that everybody's like, a lot of people are going to be watching on Thursday, right? So, and again, that's a good opportunity to talk about we've been doing like a little, I just kind of posted it up to do like a pick 'em weekly, and it got a lot of traction. So thanks to everybody that's involved in it. But every Wednesday afternoon, right around noon, we will post up just like a comment or like a post or whatever with who Bryce and I are picking for the weekend or the week. And on that, you can go on there. It's free to enter. Got a little package from a golf company or a golf brand or from Bryce or I or Mark. And yeah, it's pretty much just like go on there, pick somebody, and if you win, you win. It took us 3 weeks to get a winner, which I was pretty surprised about. But it was cool, like really cool. We had Matt Cole win last week, so good pick with Scotty Scheffler getting a second. So that was pretty cool.
That's what, second in 3 weeks?
Yeah. So last 10 starts.
Scotty's hot.
Yeah. So PGA Tour Rookie of the Year. So Scotty Scheffler's got game up to number 5 in the world of golf rankings. Getting off topic here, but every player in the top 5 in the official world golf rankings is now under the age of 30, first time ever in history. Pretty cool.
But so, yeah, just to go back to those.
What else you got?
I got 12 at Augusta.
Of course, yeah.
I mean, how not?
And 7 at Pebble Beach, top 3.
So that's my top 3. Maybe you could throw out an Insta post or something for all the listeners, and maybe get some other people's opinions. We could definitely be missing some par 3s, and there's definitely a lot more I'm sure that could be in question, but
yeah, I had a obviously I just had a little bit of a look at it. So when we say iconic, like I don't know if we throw in number 16 at the Waste Management, like you have to, right? Like it's
not
definitely
for the golf hole, but for everything surrounding the golf hole and to do with the golf hole I'm throwing it in there. Has to be.
So I thought I could try and keep up with this episode with, one of the smartest minds in golf architecture, just knowing courses in that I've ever spoken to. Ninth hole, Trump Turnberry. So again, if you're kind of listening to the podcast, you know it. It's like just on the corner of the Atlantic Ocean, and it's got like the big lighthouse on the edge of the rocks and stuff. So really, really cool. 8th at Royal Troon. Lots of majors have been played there. Another one that kind of stuck out to me as soon as I was looking it up was Port Royal number. I think it's number 16 as well. And it's at they play the Bermuda Championship there, so it's kind of on the one side of the course, kind of down the one side, and they had like crazy winds there this year when they were playing it, or just recently when they were playing it, like 75-kilometer winds or something like that, and yeah, it's a cool hole. Like it's just kind of got water all down the side of it and like a bit of a cliff, and then you're hitting to like not an elevated green, but just kind of floating out there on its own.
And then you were saying Cypress had a...
Yeah. Also number 16 at Cypress. That's why like there's a few number 16s. That's why I was wanting to make sure at Bermuda it was, but I'm pretty sure it is. 16th at Cypress. It kind of looks like, I don't want to say it looks like Pebble because it's not like you're not hitting to you're not on an elevated tee block, but it has that same look where you're kind of like, well, it's close by too, right? But it's you're kind of like out on the ocean. It's got all the rocks around it and stuff. Really cool hole. So go check out 16th at Cypress. Like you've seen it. Like if you're listening to this podcast, you have probably seen it at some point on social media somewhere.
You know what else is pretty iconic? Not so much in the golf game, but in the hygiene game, Manscaped. Phenomenal products. I actually just put their deodorant on after my shower. Smells fantastic. I recommend it to anyone. We wouldn't be talking about it if we didn't enjoy the products and like them and use them. So use OTS Golf for 20% and free shipping for Manscaped. Like I said, phenomenal products and iconic to the hygiene game.
That's smooth, man.
You like that? I nailed that one.
Yeah, that was good. That was as smooth as your face looks right now. That was I'm impressed.
Shaved.
Insert clapping noise right here. That was good. Right? That was good. Yeah. So
I had to make up for my my one that I got ridiculed online for way back. Right?
Yeah, that was tough, man. That was tough. That would have been as bad as me wearing a onesie on the episode right now. Although you wouldn't be able to see it on YouTube, it would be it'd be pretty bad. But and if anybody does make a golf onesie, I want a piece of that. This is the second time I've said this because I think I had Mark's Mark's sweater on from Wave over there. Had the gray hat, gray sweater, and I had like gray golf pants on or something. It was
Imagine they
tough.
just made a onesie that like actually looked like it was kind of like the master jumpsuit, the caddy jumpsuit,
Yeah.
but it actually had like a belt you could put on and like a collared shirt, and it was just you threw on a onesie and went and played.
or it was just for laying on the couch Sunday watching the game. Or watching the final round, whatever it is.
All right. I want to talk about Rom's little mishap putt 10-inch.
So we have difference of
club.
opinions here. I think he decelerated into the putt, and you think he just was kind of setting up.
I don't think he was attempting a putt at all. I think he was kind of doing a little practice swing, kind of being over the ball. I mean, that's just what I saw. I mean, I tried to look for it just before that, before we started chatting here, but I couldn't find it anywhere online somehow, not on Twitter or anything. So I didn't get to rewatch it. But my first look, I kind of almost think he kind of didn't even attempt to putt it. He just kind of hit it by accident. So
it could be. I don't know. Like he didn't say anything, but we've like back for at least 5 or 6 weeks now. I can't remember what tournament they were at, but maybe it was the AT&T or something like that. I don't think it was that, but remember Rom coming up he was coming up like off one of the holes, and he was just like said it was essentially like I don't know what you call it. It was kind of like a mini putt contest or something like that. Used a couple of curse words and stuff. So he's been struggling, man. I'm not saying that I've never missed a 10-inch putt in my life, and I don't think you have either. I don't think many people listening to the podcast or that have golfed at all have missed 10-inch putts, but like that's hard to do, right? So I mean,
either way, you can't do that. I mean, you're a pro golfer.
Right.
You're contending to be the best in the world right now, arguably are the best in the world, and you just can't do that, in my opinion. I mean,
yeah,
I don't know. Mistakes happen, I get it, but you can't do it. You're on the biggest stage in the world.
He's been letting me down, man. I've been just thinking Rom's gonna kind of snap out of it. He hasn't won since the U.S. Open. I didn't realize it had been that long, and you've been picking Hovland like a little bit, and he's just dominating, man. So
I've been riding Hovland. I don't know. I like him. He's been playing well, and we kind of had a little chat. And sometimes he can break down, and he kind of did this past weekend, but he's still there every weekend, man. He just finds a way to be there, like in the mix.
Yeah.
Kind of like what we were saying about Schauffele at the end of last year, just kind of always there.
Let me ask you. So I got to ask you this. Now we got to get into the chat here again. It's with Drew from Beyond the Contour, golf architecture writer, professional. Like he writes on golf architecture. I can't say that back. Oh my goodness, man.
Tongue twister.
So I know. So yeah, really smart young guy. So we'll hop into that first, but or in a minute here. But first, I want to ask you about Hovland. So I was talking with a friend of mine, Andrew. Actually, you know Andrew from the Players Tour. So
First episode.
Yeah, man. So like Hovland's got such a. That's gonna sound bad in the audios. Sorry guys, but he keeps his hands in so incredibly close. So like I would just be absolutely like hitting hosel rockets all the time with that swing plane. But we were kind of talking about how like he might be onto something. You know, DJ kind of has that as well, right? Like where they like get out really in front of it and there's just like a ton of lag. You know that, like you kind of have that in your game. But I just think it's a very unique swing to watch, and obviously something's working. Like it is, you know, I think currently on the planet, he's the best golfer on the planet currently, him or Scotty Scheffler right now. I don't think there's any debating those two players in today's, you know, as this podcast is released.
Few weeks, yeah.
Yeah. So that was just one of those things where I was like, man, like his swing is so unique. Like it's very unique to him. I don't want to say it's like Jim Furyk or anything, but like if he watches like when he's coming through the slot, like right at impact, it's impressive, man, the way that he can get through.
His swing's definitely really different. I almost see it as like if I watched him swing, hit a golf ball and didn't look where the golf ball went, it almost looks like it would, like he has no idea where it's going either. Like it almost, the way he swings,
yeah,
it almost looks like the ball could go anywhere.
Well, I think it's just like the way that his club lies and stuff too, right? So he's got like really shallow hands. Like he's kind of hitting a wedge shot, but he's hitting like a 4 or 5 iron or whatever it is, right? But anything you want to add, Bryce, here before we get out of here?
No. Definitely join into the pick'ems this week. The unofficial major, the Players should be a good one, really good field. So
yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. Merch.
Yeah, we're excited.
What about merch, buddy? You're our merch guy.
Merch is coming. It's coming.
It's coming. So when you're listening to this, it'll hopefully be coming out pretty soon. We got some samples and stuff mocked up, so it should be pretty good. And there's a little bit of interest out there, which is definitely
fantastic.
It's awesome. Bryce and I are really thankful that anybody be interested in it. Again, just like anything with this podcast, we're not developing it to make a ton of money or anything. We're just really interested in connecting with the community. And if you're gonna wear merch, that is something for us to celebrate. So that's really cool. Really appreciate the support, guys. Over on Patreon, Brian, Carly, and Matt, of course, every week or every month. Thank you guys. If you want to support the pod, Patreon's kind of a cool little avenue where whatever you choose to support, we're going to give it right back to you in golf gear. So go check it out. OTSgolf.com is now live. You can check it out. We're going to be switching it over a little bit, but geez, what do you got going on there, Bryce?
Sorry, Shay's kind of trying to call me. It's connected to my computer.
I guess we better wrap it up. But let's hop into the chat with Drew Harvey from Beyond the Contour. You guys are going to love this one. Check it out. Top 100 courses. And if you want, go down below. I'm going to link the website. You can kind of check out. I think they have the top 150 or top 125. So you can see the near misses as well. Really, really cool, really impressive golf mine. This was a lot of fun for you golf nerds out there. You'll enjoy it.
Yeah, stay tuned on Instagram for merch updates too. It's coming soon.
Classes in session here with Drew Harvey from Beyond the Contour. How are you doing, Drew?
Very good. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. I'm really looking forward to this one. We've been chatting quite a bit recently, and I find what you do, like the writing aspect and everything, is just like we were saying just before we turn these on here, that it's incredibly tough. But the whole like ranking and the architectural based, like trying to find a way to kind of put all these courses with a number value associated with them in a ranking basis is incredibly tough, man. So I'm looking forward to this one. I'm pretty excited to get into it. But anybody listening who might not know you, can you give us kind of an idea who you are, and then we can jump into it?
Yeah, so a lot of basically I'm just a golf nerd. I've had this website since I was 14 years old. So I'm 24 now. So we're going on a decade, which is pretty crazy. It originally started for me as sort of like a way to advertise myself, for colleges, a little bit of like extracurricular writing, golf. It was sort of like a resume for looking at golf scholarships in the States. It has now evolved into a full-blown like architecture-based writing, almost like a section where people can come and write. So we have a couple other writers at Beyond the Contour. Right now it's a lot of golf architecture, but we're trying to branch out. And then that's pretty much it. Like the overview of Beyond the Contour, I guess.
So anybody who wants to check out the website, like you said, it's has the top 100 ranking, which we're going to get into. It's got, a lot of writing on it and whatnot. So anybody wants to check it out, just go below. I'll link the website below to go check it out. So was that always the idea, Drew? Like, were you always, like building it for that reason, or did you have it, like to showcase more of your golf background in the past and you just kind of like have, kind of fallen in love with the writing process?
Yeah, it's kind of a funny story. I to this day, I wouldn't even, consider myself a writer. At the end of the day, I'm just a guy who likes to talk about golf, right? And so if this is an outlet for that and be able to expand, some of that stuff, then great. But it originally started as an outlet to talk about like golf tournament results, stuff like that. It's a funny story, actually. A guy that I looked up to at the club that I was playing at as a junior in Alberta, he would go on these crazy trips to, Bandon Dunes or Pine Valley or the Netherlands to play World Top 100 golf courses. And so I always thought that was pretty interesting, and he'd come back and tell these stories about Pacific Dunes and how it interacts with, the ocean and then the sand and stuff like that. And it just was way over my head. So, for me to be able to sit at the grown-ups table at the time, I had to do some research. And then as most people who get into this, into this field or this hobby or this topic, it is just a rabbit hole and you never come out. And here we are today, I guess.
Well, it's just like golf's that lifelong sport too, right? Forever evolving, forever changing. And finding your niche in it, which is kind of, it's similar to what we've done with the podcast here, right? It became, a deeply passionate project through COVID and a way to connect with different people, like yourself, and just talk some golf, right? Kind of get us through. And, I know you're in the Toronto area and so am I, so get us through these winter months as well. What else can we find on the site? Like Beyond the Contour right now, like what, we've got the top 100. What other types of things can we find on there?
Yeah, so right now we're gearing up for like a March Madness logos. I did it last year on a forum called Toronto Golf Nuts, but we're going to essentially have a bracket of like the top 64 logos, golf logos of the country. So you're going to be able to vote. We'll see what kind of wins. Last year it was Cabot Links over St. George's, which, some people might sort of scoff at because they're always top 5 in the country, but if it's an issue, then head on over and vote.
Yeah.
But some of the other stuff is there's course reviews. One of the guys that writes for us, Zachary, has done some good stuff with, like, he did a book review. He did sort of like a deep dive into the restoration or renovation culture in Canada compared to the States. And then we're also going to start pushing this sort of Dirty Diamond initiative. So it's like courses that we feel have a lot of merit but haven't been talked about as much. So there is a bit of like a I guess a skeleton up on the website right now, but that's going to be unleashed coming right before the golf season, so people can come and find some of those hidden gems that we really like and they haven't seen.
I like that, man. I'm a member of Port Hope. I was talking to you about it, so it's it's not kind of touching these lists yet, but they've done a ton of work, and 6 of the holes are based on Lake Ontario, right? So there's only 6 courses in all of Ontario that have that. So it's kind of cool. It's got some pretty cool features. The greens are nasty. It's tight. It's opened up a little bit, but really cool course, right? So I'm kind of interested to see what some of those would you call them like fringe courses, I guess? Like, are they ones that just haven't made it onto the list, or are they actual ones that, like, diamonds in the rough that people might not have heard about at all?
It's going to be a bit of both.
Right.
Basically, the main criteria is it can't appear on like a top 100 list. So whether that's like our top 100, Score Golf's top 100, or like top 100 golf courses. So those are the 3 sort of top 100 lists for the country that I look at anyway.
Gotcha.
And then it's going to be some of the diamond in the rough stuff. So like a place like Norfolk in southwestern Ontario.
Yep.
Or, Roseland or some of those places where they're just really, really quality, but nobody, publishes a piece about them. Nobody really goes out of their way to highlight them. And we just sort of want to shine the light on some of those cool places that you might not have heard of.
Yeah, there's another really really nice one out here called Baxter Creek. Have you heard of that one?
Yeah, I have heard of Baxter Creek.
Yeah, so it's cool. It's got like a it's a great like fun track to play. It's got like a 19th hole, like an island green and stuff that you can go and finish up your round there. But it's got a stretch of like a really nice par 3 and a really nice par 5 back to back just on the back 9 that I really like. And from again, when I've like talked to like my friend Anthony and stuff like that, he's a ranker as well, and like I find myself to have a ton of recency bias, which is why I think I would struggle with this until I've maybe only played 15 or 20 of the top 100 in general on all of the lists, but I find to have a lot of recency bias when I go play a course. Like I was out at Bear Mountain recently. Unfortunately, didn't get to play a ton, but that's fresh on my mind. Or Black Bear, I play quite a bit. That's on my mind a lot. When I played a little bit of TPC last year, same type of thing, right? So I'm completely impressed at how you guys are able to, I guess, differentiate all these like incredibly nice courses. Got a 2-part question for you. If we could talk about maybe some of the criteria that the rankers that you work with would need to have to kind of fulfill like I guess you would call it like a course ranking, like if they just go out. And can you talk about maybe some of the courses that you've played, whether it be in Canada or some of the ones that you've been able to play like down in the States and get some experience from?
Yeah. So what makes our top 100 different would be that there is no criteria. So essentially, we had 18 panelists, And the only criteria for them to even get on the panel in the first place would be well traveled, right? So between the 10 provinces, most of them are very well traveled. This is basically like the creme de la creme of the people who travel in the country. So whether that be architects or journalists or like PGF Canada professionals, there's only a couple of those. But for the most part, everyone is extremely well traveled. And so our sort of thinking was when you get to the top, you know, let's say you've seen one of the guys has seen 170, I think it was 176 or 178 of the top 200.
I saw that.
That's set out to.
That's wild, amazing. Man. That is absolutely incredible. How long would it have, like, is that like a lifelong, or is he trying to do that within like a few years while everything's recent?
I think it was like lifelong. Like, yeah. You know, when I talked to him about it, because he sent me basically what we did is I sent a spreadsheet out. They checked off how many of the top 200 they've played. And that gave, that gave the numbers for the algorithm. So if they ranked a course in like the top 20, so let's say we divided it into different sections and they put it in, 11 to 20. That's where they thought in the country it belongs. We would times that by how many of the top 200 they've seen. And then we divide it across everyone who's seen that golf course to get an average, basically. So when he sent me back that spreadsheet, I was like, dude, I didn't think you've seen that many. Like I was, there was courses where I went out of my way to go see in the middle of nowhere. And he's, said he's seen them. And he's like, yeah, it's a great, great golf course. Some of this is really cool. And I'm like, wow, I'm so glad I can talk to someone about this golf course in Shawinigan, Quebec, or Thunder Bay or whatever. So
that is so cool. Like being able to, I don't know, just have those conversations. Like the one that sticks out in my mind is I remember I was talking with the guys from Dormy, and we got talking about Chester Golf Course. Like, I don't know if you've ever heard of that one. So it's kind of, down just on the South Shore in Chester, Nova Scotia. And it's kind of cool. Like it's got some water holes and stuff like that. We played 2/3 of a hole in a bit of rain, and then everything was like really bright on one side. And then it was, it was kind of cool. We got different, like 3 different, weather scopes to deal with while we were out there. So it's kind of cool. And they were talking about how they got to play it, and I didn't get to play any of Cabot when I was out there. Unfortunately, we got rained out. I've had some really tough luck. I was saying I was out west last week or a couple weeks ago now, and didn't go so well for me. But can we talk about like some of the courses that you've played, or even like some of those kind of I don't know, just those ones that maybe aren't on a lot of people's radar that you've got to check out?
Yeah, so I think that's what most excited me about this list. Everyone follows Score Golf and Top 100, and they're all, they're institutions. But with our small panel, we were able, like, there's only 18 people, so we were able to sort of hit some of those really niche markets that might have quality golf. So like a place like Grand Mare, and like I said, in Shawinigan, Quebec, is very interesting. Waskesiu, northern Saskatchewan. Whitewater is a very, very good McBroom in Thunder Bay that, obviously it's Northern Ontario, hard to get to. And then stuff like James Island. So James Island is like this private billionaire's island that, allowed people to play, from time to time. And we had enough people that had actually qualified for our top 100.
Nice.
So that was really neat.
Well, I remember years ago reading about that course, and I guess it may be different now, but at the time it didn't show up on Google Maps or Apple Maps or any of that kind of stuff. So, and then I can't remember the gentleman's name who is the billionaire that owns the island, but and the course. But when you had posted it, it kind of like I kind of connected, and then I sent you a message, and I was like, wait, I felt kind of stupid because I was like, I'm pretty sure it's that course that you're talking about, but it's like a complete mystery. So how many players on the panel of 18 had to play it for it to qualify?
We set it at 3.
Okay.
That's a little bit higher than percentages of other like a Golf Digest. But still, 3 people. One of the really well-traveled panelists had seen it, so it wasn't like it was like 3 of the people who have seen X amount who are like some of our regional guys, who are based in Vancouver or Calgary and just managed to find their way onto it.
Right.
There was a good mix of like someone who's traveled a lot, someone who's like, traveled enough, but more regional now, and then one of our local, you could call them experts.
Okay. One of the other ones, so that one came in at number 28. I'm just kind of looking over the list right now. And another new one was Sagebrush. Have you got to play out there?
Yeah, so Sagebrush, I graduated high school in Kelowna. So I graduated, I guess, 2016. I played Sagebrush 4 times in 2014 before it closed. And then I went with a friend from Edmonton last year and we played 3 times in a day. And then, so yeah, I've played Sagebrush quite a bit. Pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Like, that's a spectacular piece of ground.
I was going through it today, just looking at the photos and kind of checking it out and how you can register to get set up to play. And it's kind of one of those courses that you would travel just to play. Like if you're a golfer, you're a golf nerd like you and I, you're going to travel just to play it. Let me ask you, so we've definitely touched on like parts of why and whatnot, but why did you create the top 100? Like what was the idea or the moment where you were like, you know what, I want to do this list the way that you're doing it? So like you said, no criteria, but it sounds like there's a lot of architectural, like a lot of basis from and focus, I guess, on architecture of the course, right? So is that what made you think I got to create a new list or I got to create a different type of list? Like what was it that that kind of, you know, resonated with you at that time?
Yeah, I think with a panel that, you know, no criteria and they're just placing, you know, courses where they think it belongs in Canada, and then we factor it in an algorithm is pretty nerdy.
I love it, man. I love that though. I love the idea of that.
But basically the idea came from just wanting to bring another voice, right? Like in the States, you have all these magazines that do top 100s, top 100 public. And as I started talking with some of the guys who are on the panel now, it was like, okay, there's, you know, Marine Drive in Vancouver that we feel is being left out, or, you know, Waterton Lakes basically in Montana, but it's in Alberta that not enough people get to, and all these places where it's like, okay, you know, we see it differently. And that was sort of the main inspiration, you know, just to open up discussion, create new interest in some of these courses that we've seen that we really like, and just sort of broadcast that there's more golf courses in Canada that are worthy of that spot.
I like that because I know that like when I was chatting with Jason Logan, he was saying, you know, a lot of it is making sure that there is a fun factor that's involved with it too. So with the rankers that are doing it with Score Golf. So yours is kind of like, I like, hey, I'm not afraid to say I'm a golf nerd. That's why we're talking, right? Bryce, our co-host here, he's a golf nerd as well. Big tech guy. So we're all the same in whatever way we enjoy the game, right? But I think this one kind of gives people an idea that are like looking to travel to maybe see like really impressive courses. We're going to find them here, right? I was just looking through. So it is 178 of the top 200. That was the number that he's played, which is absolutely crazy. Like I can't believe that. I don't even know if I've played 178 different courses. I definitely have not. But can we talk about some of the courses? Like how many have you played, Drew?
I came in high 120s. I think 128 was the total.
Wow. Okay.
I'm 77 of Score Golf's top 100. I don't know exactly how much I am on this one. I know the person who's seen the most on our list, they're 83, which is pretty impressive for a guy who's seen 178 of the top 200 that I sent him, that we have that much diversity from coast to coast that he's only seen 83.
Yeah, that is pretty impressive though. That's like, I know my friend Anthony, you know Anthony as well. Like he's played the top 100 on the Score Golf panel. So I'm kind of curious. I'm going to talk to him after and see how many he's played of Beyond the Contour, because that's pretty cool. Just want to quickly give everybody an idea. So the representation or the percentages of courses in the top 100, Ontario, which has always been a question, like Ontario's always had the most courses, yet I think, you know, some of the higher ranking courses are East and West, 47%. So was that number high to you? Did you still find that number to be high when you kind of put everything through the algorithm?
Yes, I want to like say here that I grew up in Alberta. I graduated from British Columbia, like a high school in British Columbia. My parents are still there. I'm very much like a Western guy, but it's hard to ignore just the sheer population of Toronto, and the results that happens when you build golf to, support that population. So yeah, I think it is high, but it's lower than other lists. So I think it's the lowest possible. And I think that's represented when you look at like 3 courses from Manitoba, 3 courses from Saskatchewan, even 2 from Newfoundland and Labrador. Like that is,
Right.
that's spread out quite a bit. So
Yeah, I'm looking at 3 from Nova Scotia too. That kind of just popped out at me because they're all within the top 10. Right?
yeah, it is. And then the next one was Northumberland Links, which just missed at like 108, I think.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that was one that I've heard about that one quite a bit in Fox Harbor. I haven't got to play out there. Like I said, I only got to play like a couple smaller courses, but it's kind of cool because like I've driven up that area and I've been able to kind of overlook them a little bit. But it's sort of neat that there's 3 represented in Nova Scotia and they're kind of all within the top 7 or 8, I guess. Right. So 47. British Columbia's got 17. Alberta 14. Quebec 9, and then the rest are 3, 2, or 1. So that's pretty cool. I kind of like that breakdown. It's sort of impressive. Are we able to? Can we go through a couple of the courses? You got a few minutes that we can run through a few of them.
Yeah, absolutely. I got all the time.
All right. And I play quite a bit at Kawartha, so I like the Stanley Thompson design. So 18 of the courses on the top 100 are Stanley Thompson. That's number 2. 21 is Doug Carrick. So any of the nerds listening to this that want to go check out the website, those are the top 2 builders, which is pretty cool. What's your favorite Stanley Thompson course? Can I ask you that?
Yeah, my favorite is Jasper Park.
Okay.
It just narrowly, like they're all so good at the top. Jasper, Capilano, and St. George's are a toss up for me. I haven't seen Cape Breton Highlands Links, so I'm sort of disqualified from this conversation, I guess. Even when I talk with some of my friends who have played coast to coast, they're like, you haven't seen it until you've seen the 3 on Cape Breton.
Right.
But Jasper for me is for sure the best, I think, that I've seen.
Okay. And Doug Carrick?
The best I've seen from Doug Carrick is Predator Ridge, I think.
Okay.
I've played Grey Wolf, I've played Muskoka Bay. They're all very good. Carrick's work at the top is quite engaging. So Predator Ridge for me is probably the most adventurous. Muskoka Bay just sort of teeters that line of being almost too hard for the average person for me to really give it the edge. I think it's probably the most, spectacular. And then Grey Wolf sort of limps its way home for it to be my favorite, which is why I go to Grey Wolf. When I go to Predator Ridge.
Yeah, when I saw Muskoka Bay at 18 on the, I think, yeah, it was at 18 on the Score Golf list, I actually was kind of surprised when I learned that they have such a fun factor involved, right? Because it's going to be hard to score there. It definitely would be hard to score. But we can just quickly run through maybe the top 10. So there are a couple differences. I'm looking at the Beyond the Contour versus Score Golf. So Cabot Cliffs, St. George, Jasper, Cabot Links, Capilano, Cape Breton Highlands. Mikey will like this one over at TXG. Toronto is in there. Banff Springs, Sagebrush, and Hamilton. So if you were to make a top 10 list on your own, Drew, would that be about the same as what you would think? Is there anyone that slips in there or anyone that kind of drops out? Tough question.
Yeah, that's, obviously, like I haven't seen Cape Breton Highlands Links or Cabot, but I think it's hard to say that they would be outside of the top 10 given they're, a unanimous selection across everyone. So I'll just speculate and say yes for those.
Okay.
The other one that could come close for me is Blackhawk. Blackhawk and Hamilton are essentially a coin flip, depending on, who you talk to or my preferences that day for 10. And I haven't seen the work that they did at Hamilton. So it's hard for me to really talk about it yet.
Okay.
But pretty much that's exactly what I would look for in the top 10.
Seems like every single person I talk golf about that is interested in like course architecture or development, anything like that, Blackhawk always comes up. So definitely one that I got to check out. I figured we could kind of touch on maybe some of the variances and some of the courses that maybe Beyond the Contour would have ranked a lot differently than some of the other lists, I guess, right? So the first one that sticks out is obviously the National. What are your thoughts there? So that one, versus Score Golf number 2, and it comes in at number 15 with you guys. So what do you think like the big differences in that variance? Like what do you think setting that one apart from, Beyond the Contour versus like Score Golf or any of the other lists?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. And, the 15th best golf course in the country is still very, very good. And I think anybody who goes to the National is quite impressed with, sort of like the drama and the grandiose scale and stuff that's really quite interesting there. The biggest difference that I saw with our panel is they sort of elected for more of those golf courses like a Devil's Paintbrush, where it's like, you have the freedom to choose the way you want to play the golf course, versus where National, it's more sort of like, here's the golf hole, play it or make double, essentially.
Right.
And I think there's a place for that. And every great golf course, and this has been written for 100 years, but they have the 3 schools of architecture. So they have like the strategy, they have the heroicness, and then they also have the penal school. And a place like Devil's Paintbrush or Hamilton, some of the guys would argue that it just balances it a little bit more, versus National is very demanding in its presentation.
Yeah, I haven't played the National myself. I honestly, I got a lot of golf to play this summer. There's a lot of courses that I need to go see, but I've heard that from quite a few people. I just like the grand scale of things is like, even I've heard that from, players like yourself, might be pros, might be, people that are into architecture, and then just like everyday golfers, right? And how much they enjoy the experience of going there. So I was kind of curious to see how that, fell into your rankings. So flipping turning the coin over, we have Calgary here. I'm looking at Calgary. So that's the one that jumps out on the first page the most. So it comes in the top 20, and it was ranked 41 on the other list, right? So what about, you were have you played Calgary? You kind of lived out that way before, right? So yeah, so I've got a few buddies who are out there. I'm wearing the Pioneer shirt right now, so I'm sure AJ's played over there. But what made that one jump up so significantly? Because when you're looking at like those top 20 courses, those are all, like you said, even being number 15 in the country is extremely good. So Calgary, to be able to kind of jump so many courses on that first page, what do you think? What was it that did it for you there, or for your panel?
It's hard to say exactly what everyone saw. For me, anyway, I was one of the guys who voted Calgary higher than normal. I think the set of greens there are, among the best in the country. So for that to be a main driving factor in my rating criteria, I assume that other people saw the same, where it's like, some of the edges that work its way into the landscape are really quite interesting. It's an old Willie Park Jr., so, he built some pretty spectacular greens that rolled quite well. Some pretty aggressive false fronts and runoffs on the side. So, that would be the main thing that I jump to when defending Calgary at 20. I think other people sort of underestimate the routing. It's only about like 110 acres or something at Calgary. It's not very big. But for Willie Park to get from the bottom of the property straight up and then work its way around the top before diving back down and coming back out and then finishing with the 18th that we all see the picture of, it is pretty impressive to get that done.
Next one I wanted to ask you about. Have you played Lookout Point?
I have. I am one of the biggest, I'm sure if Dan, the head pro at Lookout, ever listens to this, he knows that I'm the biggest cheerleader of Lookout Point. So yeah, I absolutely love it there.
I went on, I think they popped up on the Instagram last night. I gave them a follow. I think they just followed the page last night. So I have not played there, but that one has a massive jump. Like I guess, well, they went up 53 spots. So they were number 78 before, up to 25. So had quite a few of the guys on the panel. Were they able to get out there and play that one?
Yeah. So with our panel, like nobody, got privileges, I guess I should say. Like, it's not like, you join our list, or I guess, our panel, call it, and we're reaching out to golf courses to set it up. It was pretty much, everyone had seen their own stuff on their own.
Right.
We officially formed the panel, I guess I should say, like call it October 15 or, November 1, somewhere in that time. So nobody, was able to get out there on our behalf. But yeah, Lookout Point was definitely one of the ones that had quite a few people. I think over half of the panel had seen it. And then obviously for it to be 25, lots of people agreed that, it's heavily underrated.
Yeah, it's I like that. Like I don't mind seeing a course jump up that much, like based on, the different structure of what you guys have, right? The next one that jumped up a lot, and we kind of talked about it when we were just messaging, was Kawartha. So I wanted to talk about this one. So it went up from 99 on Score Golf. Again, if we're looking at the Score Golf panel versus Beyond the Contour, to number 44 in the Beyond the Contour list. Sorry. What, like, I know you mentioned the bunkers and stuff. So Drew and I kind of were talking about it a little bit. You mentioned the bunkers and stuff. I've played there quite a bit. Probably played, I don't know, 15, 20 rounds. A couple of my friends are members there. I live out in Bowmanville, so been out there quite a bit. What is it that made that one jump up so much for you?
I think Kawartha is such a cool little place in that it almost follows Thompson's evolution as an architect. So you get, the first time was built in, I think, 1932, 3 years after St. George's and Montebello, when he was doing these really flamboyant and aggressive bunkering styles. And you see that in the work that Ian Andrew restored. The bunkering is pretty aggressive, and it's quite appealing to the eye.
Yeah, number 18 is it's so beautiful to look at, right? So it's if you haven't played there, I'll try and go up and drop a photo here, but it is one of the most impressive sets of bunkers that you're going to see, right? So sorry Drew, go ahead. I just I love kind of
absolutely
looking at that hole, right? So
no, and then you get into sort of the subtle stuff that he started doing towards the Great Depression when he had to, right? So not that Capilano was built in the Great Depression or anything, but Capilano is a lot more subtle in its choices than perhaps like a Banff Springs is, where he had to overpower the flat layout to really keep up with the mountain scale. Stuff like the 13th at Kawartha is very, very cool, where you have to hit it to the high side of the outside dogleg right in order to have a better angle. And if you keep it on the low side, you might have a short club in, but you're well below the putting surface. Or, the green at the second, which slopes away from the player actually on the grade of the fairway. It's just subtle stuff like that that's really interesting to look at. And I think it gets better with each play.
Yeah, when they tuck that pin at number 2, like in the back left corner, it's nasty. They had done a little bit of work on that green when we were there after the club championships last year, and it looked amazing. But of course, like I tried to hit driver over the left-hand side trees and kind of came down somewhere there, and then the pin was tucked on the left. So instead of just, at that point in time, when you're on the left-hand side, you kind of got to take your medicine and just play it up and hopefully roll a 2-putt from like 90 feet if it's in the back left. But of course I found the bunker, and then trying to get up and down from there I don't know, they're tough, man. It's no good. So I think that one kind of stuck out to me quite a bit, because there are a couple holes that we talked about, like 17 and stuff like that I felt like they're doing a bit of a remodel there right now, and I would love to see one of them is being redone, which would have, I guess, what's the last par 3? Not the last par 3 is 18. That's one of the most beautiful par 3s around, but 15. So that one's being redone, which would be nice. Like I'm really interested to see how it turns out, because it changed that par 5, that kind of hard dog leg. So I'm kind of curious to see how that looks. 17 is staying, so it's kind of one of those ones that I wish like there was something else that you could add to that hole, right? But I get you have to access the course somehow. But it's got some of the, when you look at number 11 is one of the nicest par 5s. Like it's kind of, we've talked about it. My friend Jeff, he's been on the pod with us here, kind of talking golf before, and it's sort of one of those ones where it almost doesn't really receive a second shot, even if you like really get one down the hill. Like it's really hard to kind of hold that green. You can try if you can, like, flight a long iron into it, but yeah, I guess there's maybe a lot of things that I don't think about. That's why it's kind of good to chat with you and get an idea of why some of these things will kind of fall into the list in different places. And And then I wanted to talk to you about Bear Mountain. So I just went out there. Unfortunately, I didn't get to play all of the holes, but I noticed that there was like a pretty significant difference to where they would fall on your list versus maybe some of the others. So is it, do you find that it's like hard to rank resort courses like that? Like, was it anything to do with that, or was it just kind of just how it fell on the list with the panelists?
I would say it's probably more just how it fell.
Right.
At right around 100, it got really close. Like I think I could pull it up. It was within like there was 5 courses or something within like 0.5 decimal points.
Okay.
So when you think about it, you're rating a course. In the second 50, we divided up into 51 to 75 or 76 to 100. So 0.5, when you actually factor it, is hardly anything.
Right.
It's one person at the very bottom saying, this is not X. And so, to be honest, I don't know why Bear Mountain, especially the Valley, didn't make it. I know some of the people that I've talked to on the panel, were very hesitant on giving high marks to the mountain just because, some of the holes had been ripped up for housing. It sort of made the routing a little bit awkward for them, that it just felt like, it's not as good as, the 100th best golf course on the list. So it was just, it fell off for them. The Valley was very interesting to watch. I know lots of people were really really like it. It was controversial. So some people voted it like top 40. Some people didn't vote it in the top 125. It was very big swings. And I think ultimately one of those swings was enough to just keep it at 103, I think.
Okay. That one's I was just trying to look it up here to see if it popped up on the list, but I'd have to go deeper into my notes here, and I don't want to mess up everybody's ears looking through the pages here. But for me, I got to play 1 through 4 they had, and then 14 through 18. So part of it was closed down, just simply because of weather. So it was a nice long par 5. I tipped it up like in, I don't know, 30 something kilometer winds. I don't know what I was thinking, but hadn't played golf in like 3.5, 4 months. So it was tough. Like, it was punishing. The first 2 holes were punishing, really nice. The third hole is beautiful. I actually made a nice birdie on there. And then the 4th hole just ate me up as well. So crashed one in on number 14, which is a really nice looking par 3. And then I was like, number 15 is like that long par 5, right? So really nice hole to look at. I don't know if you've played that course, Drew, but really nice hole to look at, but it was tough, like going into the wind. I think it was like a 240 carry or something. So I really liked it. I really want to get back out there with some better weather and try and check it out again. But I'm just learning there's so much golf to play in Canada. And kind of talking to you guys definitely puts that bug in. Can we talk Black Bear a little bit? That's a course that I've got to play quite a bit being out here. I find that it's another like kind of controversial course, I guess. It falls really high on some lists and then it kind of falls off on some others. So I have an idea of what maybe is the reasoning to that. I guess my reasoning would be obviously like hole number 11 is kind of a tricky hole. But was there kind of like a reason that you think that it fell a little bit lower for you guys?
Yeah, I think the general consensus was, it's pretty good. And I want to, say like anything that didn't make it. And I think Black Bear, we did like a section that you can see on the website where it's like the close calls.
Right.
So, 101 to 125, just because, when we're putting together this list, it's like, okay, like Black Bear and Bear Mountain and Camelot and some of these like normal top 100s didn't make it. We're like, okay, we got to post this. Otherwise people are going to think we're crazy.
Yeah, when I saw those 3, so I was just about to go out and play Black Bear, or not Black Bear, Bear Mountain. So when I saw that, I was really glad that you posted the list because I could at least go through and kind of like have a read and have an understanding. So again, anybody listening at this point, go down below. I'm going to link the website and you can find it on there and get like a description. But sorry, Drew, go ahead.
Yeah, so Black Bear was one of those ones where it's just like, the owner did a very good job maximizing the property. There's just little things where you can almost tell it's an amateur architect and not like someone who's actually paid to design. Some of the corridors are a little too narrow to really make sense. At 16, the par four up the hill, it feels like you almost get stuck a little bit with the routing where it's just like, okay, where are we going from now? Or where are we going from here? Like you said, 11 is kind of not a, I don't think it's a good hole really. But obviously it's hard for me to speak on top of the entire panel. At the end of the day, mine only counted for X in the process, and then the other 17 made it up. But that's what I would speculate.
Yeah, I think when I went into number 11, I think I was even or one under at the point. And again, so that's a really good first 9 or 10 holes for me with my skill level in golf currently. And I left that hole being +3, I think. So it can be tricky. So par fives, you want them to be scoring holes. And I struggled with it. I've played it quite a few times now, but I've that one kind of really stuck with me. So some of the holes you can really score on. Some of them are beautiful holes too. Like I know you guys mentioned the overhanging tree on number one. Whenever I've played, I've kind of been on the left hand side, so maybe I haven't really noticed it all that much. But I find three to be like a beautiful, nice par five. Like it's laid out nice. It's a lot of fun. Like I kind of like the eighth hole. It's like a little bit of a risk reward sort of hole. I think it's like 280 or something, and you can't really the green doesn't really receive a ball, but you can try and go for it. But yeah, so those ones kind of it definitely is always interesting to see how they fall with I don't know, different people, different rankings and that kind of stuff, right? So was there any other ones, Drew, that you thought like on the list that kind of stood out to you that were either a lot higher on Beyond the Contour or a lot lower than you expected? Were there any other ones that like really stood out to you?
I was probably surprised that Chateau Montebello made it, or Chateau Whistler. Not to say it's not great. I played, Chateau Whistler, and I quite like it. Uh, but for it to make it over stuff like Valley, Bear Mountain Valley,
Right.
and some of these other places, I was quite surprised, just because it sort of went against the trend in our panel. Um, I think the biggest thing that I saw was, and to some it might look like we're, sort of throwing away the modern stuff. I don't think that's necessarily true. We do like the classics, obviously, and who doesn't? But at the same time, like, Wolf Creek Links is up 23 spots. Maple Downs is up 25 after Ian Andrew. Laval sur la Lac is up. I don't know if there was a ton of surprises in the list. The biggest shock that did make it, I think, was Chateau Montebello, which could have snuck in there around like Lachute. I think they're both pretty similar in quality and for completely opposite reasons. But other than that, I don't think there was a ton of surprises on my end.
I wanted to ask you about, so with Kawartha ranking so high, Oshawa was, I checked out Oshawa because it was one of the last courses I played at the end of the year. I think it was 91. A course that I feel like, and again, I could be way off. Like I don't have kind of that eye that you guys do. Not yet anyway. Like I hope to kind of get to that point where I can kind of see them without a recency bias, because I feel like, again, I develop a recency bias when I go play a course I really like, fall in love with it, I play a good round, and I'm like, okay, like that's got to be a top course. But Dundas Valley was one that I played this year, and I played really well. Now I know there's that like really short par three, but it kind of reminds me a lot Stanley Thompson design of like a little bit of Kawartha, quite a bit of Oshawa, in my opinion. Did that fall on your list at all? Like was that up there at all? I didn't see it in any of the. Like, I guess it would have been
We
in the top
we
200 maybe, but
Yeah, it is in the top 200 for sure, and I think it just missed the top 125.
okay.
Um, the biggest difference I think was, you know, Oshawa has seen X amount of people see it, and Dundas Valley has seen X. So if Dundas Valley has a couple less people who've seen it, sort of the weight is a little less.
Got you.
Not to say like it's worse or it's better or the system is flawed, but it's just sort of like the way that the algorithm worked, that if more people had seen it, it had the higher chance of just stabilizing a little bit more, where if less people have seen it, it could be a little bit more sporadic in where it ranks.
Have you played a lot down in the States at all, Drew?
Yeah, I've played enough, I guess.
So our co-host here, Bryce, he's from Whitby. Played hockey down in the States, met his fiance, and is living down in Michigan right now. we've got a pretty good, about 30% of the listeners are down in the States. Any courses that you really like that you played down there that we can chat about quick? I have not really played any. I've played a few courses like in Michigan, Toledo, and stuff, but nothing to really talk about.
Yeah, so I'm definitely not at the level of Canada that I've seen, but I've played 26 of the top 100 in the U.S. So obviously stuff like Shinnecock and Marion is to be expected in some of the favorites. I really liked Palmetto in South Carolina. San Francisco Golf Club is great. Cal Club is great. That's the biggest difference between the states is that it's like, you know, there's 350 good golf courses, or it's just like you could stumble upon this, you know, Inverness Club for those Michigan listeners. I haven't seen anything in Michigan yet. I drove through Detroit once after I played Inverness Club, but
There's
lots of good golf in the
Acadia
state.
Bluffs up there is I'm pretty sure it's called Acadia Bluffs. I think that one is like one of the, I know they were bidding on trying to get the US Open, and it's kind of one of the nicer courses in that area. Hopefully I got that right. I was talking to a friend of mine who's been on the pod. He is a custom club builder, and I think it was called Rams Hill. Does that one ring a bell to you?
Yeah, Rams Hill in like Palm Springs area.
Yeah. So he was saying that course was stunning. So again, I definitely got to get out and meet some of these people. This is episode number 69, I believe. So I've met a handful of people, but I got to come meet you somehow, Drew, and I got to you're close by, so that'd be pretty easy. And I got probably 50 other people to try and connect with. But this was really cool, Drew. I appreciate it. We could probably talk golf all the time, and I just see, I don't know, so many courses on this list that I want to check out. Anything that you can add before I let you go? Is there any other courses or anything that you want to talk about going on in the golf world in this area?
No, I don't think so. I mean, you know, we're trying our best to keep on top of it at Beyond the Contour. So, you know, we did like the World Woods podcast for Cabot. We did, you know, a little bit of a release on Andy Staples at Weston. So, you know, we're trying to keep on top of it. That's probably the last thing that I would say is there's lots going on the website, and hopefully we pick up a couple readers from this.
Absolutely. We've got a lot of golf nerds for sure. They might be kind of club junkies. They might be, you know, into courses and stuff like that. But we definitely have a pretty close kind of tight knit community here. We'll get a few people over to check out the page. I know you're close by St. George. You got any thoughts on the Canadian Open before I let you go this year?
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty awesome. I
Yeah.
think leading into Brookline, Brookline will be really good as a U.S. Open host. I think St. George's sort of matches the excitement in terms of like quality of golf course, the style of golf. So it'll really help players if they come, you know, St. George's the week before and then go to Brookline. So I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a good test. And as long as we don't get buckets of rain like 2010, I think it'll hold up better than most people expect.
Hey, and as we record this right now, the API is going on, and defending champ Rory is well, he was tied for the lead with Victor Hovland, so that'll be out. We'll have a winner by that time, but hopefully Rory's up here to defend. That'd be pretty cool to see. So I know everybody I talk to, it seems like we stumble on like the Canadian Open, and we just desperately need it to happen up here. So I hope it does. I hope the field's good. I hope, you know, a lot of people come check it out. Past guest Callum Davison has an invite to go play. He was a PGA Tour Canada Player of the Year last year, which is really cool. So looking forward to getting out and checking out and seeing how he does. I think it'll just be a lot of fun. So if I don't connect with you at some point, Drew, maybe I'll find you there and I'll come say hello. I really appreciate you coming on. And yeah, anybody that wants to check it out, it's beyondthecontour.com.
Yeah, you got it.
Okay, and then can we share any social handles you guys have that I can link below as well before I let you go?
Yeah, so Twitter, it's Beyond Contour. For whatever reason, Twitter wouldn't let us put so it's a little shortened. And then Instagram, it's Beyond the Contour. Pretty straightforward.
Yeah, so I posted it up when I was doing my research here. Again, another golf nerd here, so looking through the homework. So I will definitely I'll link it below. Anybody who might be listening in the car or whatever it may be, go below and check out the website, subscribe over there, and go check out Beyond the Contour over on Instagram as well. You guys have obviously a lot of cool posts, and if you're into golf like me and into kind of doing some reading and stuff like that, it's a good spot to be. Really appreciate this, Drew. This was awesome, man. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me on. It was lots of fun to chat golf.
He's out in my ball in the course where I tee up. I lose the ball and I re-up. I miss a fairway, I probably end up in the ocean or maybe the beach. And I'm on a par 5 and I'm finna go reach it. Second was blind, I ain't see it. Feel like it might be an albatross, worst case scenario.